Yo, call me a Kirby Air Rider the way I rider. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the GameCube today. And only today, we are here with a mega yap session about the Nintendo Switch 2. The treehouse stuff is done. We've had a few days to marinate on the direct, so I figured now would be the best time for a mega yap session about everything Nintendo Switch 2. I didn't want to just do it off rip where like it just felt like news kept coming out, and there's still news, it feels like, that's happening with all the tariffs and all the yada yada. So I figured today we would go news piece by news piece about everything that was announced, everything that was shown, and then go into detail discussing everything. And of course, if you would like to see more Nintendo stuff coming from your boy here as the Switch 2, approaches, please make sure to subscribe to your boy. Let me know if you like that stuff alongside the Sonic stuff. And of course, let's lock the fuck in. Also, on another note, I actually am going to be able to play the Switch 2 next week because I'm going to go to that hands-on event in LA for it. So I'll have impressions on those games when I do that. So that'll be a nice video too. So the way we're going to do this is I have a Polygon article that basically goes over everything in the direct. Now, obviously, I'm going to add, footage and stuff of all the treehouse stuff that happened and all that to talk about stuff. I'm going to talk about all the additional stuff that's come out. But let's go piece by piece, running down the direct / all the news that's come out. So, the Switch 2 price and release date. All right, let's begin with that. So, this, funny enough, was not in the direct, right? In the direct, all they did was show, that they were doing the Nintendo Switch 2 plus a bundle of Mario Kart, and the direct kind of just ended, and we were like, okay, that's a little weird, right? But then you go on the website, you find out that, the console, the Nintendo Switch 2 will release worldwide on June 5th, 2025. In the US, the console by itself would cost $449, while a $499 package will be bundled with a digital copy of the launch title Mario Kart World. Nintendo will begin taking pre-orders on April 9th, a week from now. Well, depending where you are, right? So let's start with that, right? The price point. I think the price of the console is fine. If anything, when I was watching the direct, right, I remember like when they were talking about how it does 120 FPS and the dock itself is 4K with the cooling fan and everything, I was like, all right. I literally remember looking at my friend next to me, I was just like, this is not a $400 machine. This is about to be like $500 or $450, and boom, it is $450. And I honestly would say you might as well just get the bundle with Mario Kart, because that game is $80 versus basically $50 in the bundle. And of course, we're going to talk about Mario Kart as you talk about. There's the Mario Kart. Oh my God, it's going to be a whole other discussion. But I will say baseline, like the price of the Switch 2, I think it's fine. I think that's okay. Like that just makes sense to me. I'm also really happy with the release date. I think, 2 months after basically the big direct is enough time for them, to see pre-orders and prices and all that. But of course, the first major thing that they talk about in this presentation is Mario Kart World. Right now, there is so much to talk about Mario Kart World, bro. But I will say, just baseline, right? Based on the initial trailer we saw here and everything. What a showcase for a Mario Kart game. This is one of those trailers that like I've constantly been rewatching because it's so fun, right? I feel like there's more that goes into a trailer than just show me the gameplay. It's the way it's like, shown with the music, right? The way, it zooms on different camera angles, different characters and everything. Like Mario Kart World is looking phenomenal, bro. Not just from this trailer, but everything we've seen, from extra footage and everything. And this is going to be the launch game for the Switch 2, which, this is the perfect launch game. Let's, do I want to talk about the game first or the price first? Let's talk about the game first. So let's start on the very high note. On the first high note of the game, it looks phenomenal. I mean, the character models alone are so beyond expressive. And this is one of those game trailers where, like, the more you kept watching it, the more it felt like you were discovering, right? Like, you were like, wait, that's Waluigi. Wait, why can I play as the fish? Why can I play as the sidestepping crab? Is that the snowman character you can play as? Oh my God, now I can grind rail. Obviously, is it rail grind? I can play as the cow, right? Like, there were so many moments in the trailer that make you like lose your mind. You see different items like, Hammer Bros items. There's a moment where like a birdo goes into a truck and starts moving left and right. Like, it's so crazy. And of course you get the character costumes, and each costume looks like it has its own unique taunts, right? You see all these cool cards. Like, the levels look so grand. It just looks phenomenal from start to finish. And then in the trailer, they went ahead and started detailing things. Like, they talked about, how Grand Prix this time around, like the idea of Mario Kart World is that this is one huge interconnected world, as opposed to just, you know, pick random courses, right? It's a big world that they've designed all around. And so when you pick a mode like Grand Prix, you're actually racing from course A to course B, C, and D, right? In fact, there's like an intermission lap where, like, when you finish a race, like, you're racing to the next track, which I've seen a bit of, you know, pushback on. I think some people were like, well, I just kind of want to play the full track instead of this intermission where I'm just kind of driving a highway, versus some people that just think it's a genius idea. I feel like we'll have to see like how all of them play out, but yeah, I could see the concern being like, all right, well, I want to just play the next track. Now, people did find in the options that there's something called intermission that it looks like you can turn off. So that's good. That's potentially meaning you can turn off, you know, the drive to the next course. So maybe you could just get into it, right? But yeah, regardless, the tracks look incredible. There's so many too. I mean, I think we've spotted like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 7 cups so far, right? 4 races each. And I'm sure there's going to be more that we haven't seen, right? There's obviously going to be your rainbow roads. There's also another huge mode that they've been marketing, which is Knockout Tour, and this mode is gonna be the mode. This is gonna be the content mode of the game. So essentially, it's kind of like that mode they added to F-099, where it's an elimination mode. So the farther back you are, the more likely you are to get knocked out. Like each lap, it'll be like, all right, you gotta place 16th and higher, or you're eliminated. All right, next track, you gotta place 18th or higher, or you're eliminated. Next track, you know, 14th, and then 10. And then 9, all the way up to, you know, first place, which I just think is like a genius idea in terms of content, especially the fact that this game has 24 races. And God, bro, the game looks beautiful. Like, just looks so pretty. I love everything about how this game looks. I mean, we'll talk about the console itself, you know, and the graphics and the implications and everything that Nintendo talked about there, but just the game looks gorgeous. The tracks look massive. And of course, right, there's the whole open world aspect, right? The whole idea is Mario Kart World has this free roam, and you can just go and explore this world freely. Now, it looks beautiful, and obviously it looks like, you know, you can run around with your friends, drive around, you can take pictures, have fun. I hope that in the direct they're gonna do, because they announced they're doing a Mario Kart World Direct, I'm hoping and guessing that they are going to detail what you can do in the open world, because from the footage they were showing in the treehouse, it was just kind of like, oh, you could drive around and, like, you know, try to practice the tracks before you go into the next track. Whereas, like, I feel like they're hiding something, and that the mainline direct is going to show, you know, hey, here's, you know, time trial challenges you can do. Here's, you know, go through the ring trials, you know, here's hit all these enemies. Like, I think they're gonna show and detail that stuff, because it's a huge open world. They're not just gonna have it be like drive around. There's definitely gonna be missions. If there isn't, I'm gonna be really disappointed, right? But I do think baseline, right, the idea and what they're doing here looks amazing. There's gonna be like dynamic weather systems, everything. Like, it is looking phenomenal. Now, let's get this discussion out the way. This is the one a lot of people have been having over the last few days. So after the direct, if you go on the website, you were able to see that Mario Kart World is retailing, or, you know, digitally, at least for $80, right? And this has caused a, like, huge, like, war online. You know, this has been something that's been a huge debate. It's to the point where when Nintendo was streaming the treehouse, the entire chat just nonstop kept spamming, you know, drop the price, drop the price, drop the price. Like, it just became like, that was the narrative almost. It almost sucked to see, because you're like, damn, bro, like, you turned something that, like, looks like an incredible game and hype into, like, this huge debate and conversation. So $80 for Mario Kart. I spent a lot of time with my community, like, discussing this, you know, on my streams and stuff. And I almost want to make a Gamechat, yes, for the YouTube members, not to plug, about pricing in video games, like what it implies, how it's monetized, all this stuff, right? But yeah, regardless, big debate about the price. My personal opinion, right? You're asking me, Fidel Gamechat, what's my opinion on the price, right? I look at games, like every game I play, right? I look at them in terms of, like, is it worth it for me, right? Like, is the quality worth it, right? And for this Mario Kart game, yes. Like, there is no world where this Mario Kart game is not worth $80 for me, when this is something I'm going to be playing a shit ton on stream, off stream. It's basically the next Mario Kart game we're realistically going to be playing for the next decade, right? Just like we played Mario Kart 8 for a decade, I have no doubt Mario Kart World is going to be the same thing, where they're going to be adding courses, adding characters, and it's just going to be getting content for the rest of the Switch 2's life. If anything, it's it's probably going to be more content than original Mario Kart over time, you know? So I think for me, when I look at this game in terms of, you know, quality, the amount of characters, the open world, everything, I'm like, damn, for me, that's worth $80. However, I will say that $80 sucks as a price point, you know, like I'm willing to pay that and I think it's worth it, but I think it sucks in terms of just, you know, accessibility, right? Like you have a lot of people. For me, when a game makes people go, I don't know if I can get that, right? That's a problem because that's less people that'll be able to, you know, play with me, right? Or play the game. And so I think that's really where the pain, not the pain, okay, that fucking sounds like stupid. It's a video game console. And I will say the way people are reacting, I'm like, dude, it's a video game console. Now, I understand, obviously, the tariff situation that's going on with the Switch and the pre-orders and stuff. That, you know, is involving all the U.S. economy and all that stuff, right? But just in terms of Mario Kart as a game that's just $80, I feel like it's going to be worth it, but it's going to suck to, you know, that some people won't be able to buy it or will have to wait for a sale or wait for holidays or whatever. But yeah, I just feel like with Mario Kart World, it looks phenomenal to me, but yeah, the pricing thing is something you've probably listened to 7,000 people talk about. But again, like, I understand also, you know, I'm in a position where I can get the game, whereas I could see myself, you know, when I was younger, still buying games, or when I was in high school or college, right, be like, damn, bro, I'm gonna buy this, but like, this is gonna hurt like 3 other games I gotta buy. You know, it's tough to discuss, you know, because everything is subjective. I do think that's the baseline, is like paying for games is subjective. I am hoping that when they do the Mario Kart Direct, I will say one thing that'll honestly annoy, because so far I haven't been mad, right? I will say I will be genuinely upset if they don't say like, hey, year 1 DLC for the game is free, right? If it's $80 and then they just say, hey, we're selling you a booster course pass for $25, I'm gonna be like, damn, bro, that fucking sucks, Nintendo. So I'm hoping that it is gonna be like, yeah, they're gonna update it throughout the year for free, which will make me go, all right, well, you know, it's almost basically forcing me to buy the DLC, right? But whatever, it is what it is. So that's really my opinion on the pricing. We can now move on. It also does seem like they're going to be doing a sort of adventure mode for the game, because you can see when someone was on the Grand Prix, they were like hovering the map when they were showing it on the treehouse, and you could see other characters in different locations. So I assume it could be a cool thing where you challenge those characters to a race, right? Or you could swap to them. You could get different costumes by playing, you know, their levels. I really do think there's a chance to make something fucking awesome here. Like the fact that you can explore the open world with your friends, potentially do this adventure mode, the Grand Prix, the knockout tour. There's probably going to be battle mode stuff. Again, a lot of this stuff is going to be detailed in the direct they're going to do for Mario Kart. But regardless, the game, from everything they've shown, from local multiplayer to online to stupid character choices, like, you know, the fucking money bag or even a hammer bro and everything, is gonna be so good. And I love, you know, how you can do the rail grinding, right, onto different, you know, rails, right? You can do some wall jumps, and I'm so happy. One thing I'm so happy about that I kept talking about before this, I talked about this in the last video, is they cut down on the customization, right? Like, it's basically now that they've made unique carts all across the board with different stats, as opposed to like change your wheel, change your base, change your glider. Like, instead of your like car looking like a horrible contraption, it's something that they designed themselves. So you'll still have, you know, metas and, you know, the best character size of the best carts, but it mitigates a bit of like that micromanagement of the menus. In general, it feels like the game is trying to abolish how long it took to get into a race. Because really, like, man, when you played Mario Kart online, right, in on the Switch, like, it was a thing of like, you know, if you counted the time that you would end a race, go back to the menu, pick the thing where you know, pick a stage at random, right? It does the random selection. It you know, then it transitions to, you know, picking the level, then it starts the level. Like, it would almost feel like a 2-minute process to get to the next race. Whereas now it feels like boom, boom, boom. They just want you playing the game, right? Whether it's the intermission to different courses, whether it's, you know, the added stuff or not, like, it just feels like the game wants you in a cart at all times running around. So I'm super happy. I spoke on it a little bit during Mario Kart graphically, but I did want to take a moment to talk about the Switch 2 specs, right? Because this machine is honestly way more powerful than I thought it was going to be, right? They announced in the Direct that you can get up to 120 FPS on this thing, and as a fan, it can do 4K. It's got HDR. Like, not that I had no doubt that it was going to at least do 1440p or upscaled or whatever, but like there's something mind-breaking about seeing a Nintendo game run that well. You know what I mean? Like seeing games run that well. And they're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it when we get to, you know, the enhanced game thing, right? But just inherently, right? Like the hardware itself, really good stuff. I really like, you know, the bigger Joy-Cons they've got going on. They've got like the back grip that's more powerful. You've got the USB-C on the top and the bottom. Like there's a lot to the machine that's looking good, right? And I just think it's surreal to see a Nintendo machine seemingly this powerful. It did come out that the battery life for it this time around is actually lower than the original Switch. It's going to be from 2.5 hours to 6.5 hours, which I understand in terms of the fact that games are going to be like 4K. It's a really strong machine. And I don't know, man. That one kind of blows a little bit, just because like I've always said, like I feel like 4 hours is perfect. Like I'm not gonna play in handheld mode for more than 4 hours, but like if I'm playing handheld mode for like 2 hours and I feel like this machine is dying, because again, like this is 2.5 hours at launch, you know, right? That's before, you know, batteries get worse, right? And it's taking its sweet time, you know, to load certain games or play certain games, right? But I just feel like, yeah, that battery life sucks a little bit. We know the screen is bigger, you know, we know that you know, 1920 by 1080 on handheld mode, which is incredible, right? And you could do up to 120 FPS in handheld mode. All the nerdy stuff like your NVIDIA's. I do like that it launches with 256 gigs. Like it's almost, again, there were things in this that are very normal, right? In terms of graphics and things nowadays, right? But I think you guys agree with me. It's the fact that it's Nintendo where it's weird. You know, seeing the words like 4K 60 for a Nintendo thing is crazy, right? And then you have, you know, your stereo speakers, you have a microphone that's built in, you've got, you know, 2 USB-C ports, you've got the micro SD slot, the game sensor slot, which we'll talk about game stuff, but overall, you know, approximately charge time 3 hours. Damn, that's like slow too, bro, for like a battery life of 2.5 to 6 hours. Like I don't know, man. Like this definitely disappoints me as someone who likes to play handheld mode. I don't want to feel like I played Donkey Kong, you know, the new Mario Kart Donkey Kong for like an hour and then my thing is dying. Now, granted, it's easy to get, you know, portable chargers and, you know, be next to a charger or whatever, but that blows for sure. The next thing they talked about in the Direct was this game chat feature, right? So Nintendo basically, you know, becoming one with the times, right? Where they're finally having voice chat support on a Nintendo console. Now, for me, right, this is one of those things where, like, look, I mean, I guess at a unique position. I make content, so like I'm just gonna be on Discord and talking, but I will say, like, this is cool. You know, this is cool for younger people that want to hang out with their friends in a Nintendo console. It's cool for people that, sorry, a little sneeze there. It's cool for people, you know, that don't use Discord, just want to hang out with their friends. Like, I'm happy that Nintendo is finally adapting with the times. And they're apparently, you know, they're touting that there's some tech in the mic where like you can talk into your Pro Controller and it sounds decent, it can nullify background noise, which I severely doubt. Like, I don't think it's gonna be that, you know, proof of sound. I think things are still gonna bug it. I think that's just Nintendo touting. But I will say, the funniest thing about this entire Nintendo presentation was that, so people can like share their screen for whatever game they're playing, and the game literally, and I mean literally, looks like it's like 2 frames per second on their screen. Now, I almost respect Nintendo for being so blatantly open about it, you know, because they could have shown it looking incredible and making it look good, but they are so open about how crusty it looks to have your friend screen on the bottom that, like, I can't even be mad at them about it. You know, it's a fucking crazy thing that they showed it that way. But again, on just a baseline thing, I'm happy it exists, right? They also, this is like half random, but they also announced that they'll finally be able to be like the PlayStation, where if you take screenshots and videos, that you can send it to your phone. That way you can, you know, post them online, which I think is fantastic because, you know, that's one of my favorite things about the PlayStation app. Yeah, the console has a built-in microphone into it, and they also announced, yeah, that they're selling you a Nintendo Switch camera, which, like, you know, at first I was watching, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, this is pretty cute, this is pretty funny. But as I thought about it a bit more, I'm like, this shit, I mean, what does it mean for me? You know, like, I have a camera here, like, even for other people, I'm like, it's a shitty 280p camera. It'll be used in like 2 or 3 gigs. I don't know. This is one of those like extra things, you know, where it's like Zoom for gamers, I guess. Like older people that don't use Discord are gonna use it. I don't see a world where people abandon Discord, right? I'm happy it has voice chat. I'm happy they're adapting to the times, but yeah, I feel like everybody's already moved on. And the next thing they talked about was local play via game share. Right now, this is their new option where basically they're bringing back the thing from the DS where you can, if you're playing with your friends, they can play a version of the game. Now, apparently what they didn't say is that if you're doing that voice chat thing with people, certain games will be able to do the download play with you. So it is potentially something that can work online if you don't have the game, as long as you're in like a voice chat with people, but it's limited to a specific amount of games. So I'm glad they're doing this. This might be a cool resolution to, when I want to play Clubhouse 51 games with people and I don't expect, 3 other people to fucking buy the game, right? Because that's not just a realistic ask for a lot of people, right? So the idea of this is pretty good. And then they showed Nintendo Switch to Welcome Tour. So this is their little gimmick game. It's pretty cute. The idea is that, you walk around a Nintendo Switch 2, right? You walk around the buttons, you can talk to characters, get info and stuff. They showed a bit of it in the treehouse, and I gotta say, man, this looks so like whatever to me, and the worst part is they're charging for it, right? They're charging for it. Apparently it's going to be $6 in the eShop, and I'm like, why? It's basically just a fun way to like explore the console. It's like such a silly Nintendo like game, and they're charging you for it when like a game like Astro's Playroom came with your PS5 and basically did that. I mean, you would walk around different consoles and games. Like, I don't know, just this one like sticks to me because I'm like, this is such a cool, cute concept. And then it's like, boom, paid day one. I'm like, well, you just shot the chance of anybody buying this. This should have just been bundled in, right? This is what I've done. See, it's moments like this, or like when I try to, I give Nintendo passes a lot of the times, right? This is one where I just can't, I'm just like, all right, man, this is egregious, bro. Like, what are you doing? I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be cute. It looks like it has like some fun mini games, but I don't know if it's gonna be worth, buying. Another quote unquote gimmick game that they announced was our first upgraded game for Mario Party Jamboree. So this is one of many upgrades that they showed are coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, right? And Mario Party Jamboree, this is like Mario Party Jamboree plus live TV or Bowser Live or whatever. And when I was watching this, I was excited. I was like, hey, I love Mario Party. It's more Mario Party. Upon watching more footage and kind of getting a grasp of it, I'm like, I just want more of the base Mario Party. Like, I'm hoping that maybe, and I doubt it because they would have said it, right? I'm hoping that maybe at the bare minimum, that maybe a new board or two are added to the main game. But this is basically their gimmick game, right? The idea here is that, you turn on your camera, you have your cameras on while you're playing. There's some mini games that use, the mouse con, right? That you're moving around on the table. And the mouse con is cool. I will say, right? Seeing the mouse con in action, the fact that you can dual mouse con and all that looks good. It looks like there's some cool motion mini games, but this is the definition of a mode that you are going to play one time to try it out and then be like, all right, let's just go play regular Mario Party now. If we look at the website here, the details for it are, new way to play exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2, new modes that use mouse control, microphone, and compatible USB-C camera. So it's cool that, what's cool is the fact that the Switch 2 has a microphone implies that they might be able to get the microphone minigames from Mario Party 6 working for NSO GameCube, which we'll talk about after. But yeah, players appear within the game via camera play using compatible USB-C camera, game share compatibility for local multiplayer, and a 1440p resolution in TV mode plus full 1080p HD handheld TV mode, visually enhanced with improved frame rate. Yeah, if you look at someone like posted a screenshot, like a few comparisons, it's kind of crazy how much they've improved the graphics of the game. So graphically, I'm happy. I'm hoping and I'm praying. My biggest flaw with Mario Party Jamboree is how slow the characters move, right? So basically, if like 20 turns in Mario Party Jamboree feels like 30 turns in a regular Mario Party because the characters move so slow. So I'm hoping they maybe heard that feedback from fans and up the speed, because besides that, Mario Party Jamboree is really good. But yeah, overall for the Mario Party Jamboree upgrade pack thing, which is the first of many, this is the one I'm not sold on at all. Like, I'll probably get it for a dumb stream, but it's one that I would not say is worth it. All right, but then we got our first look at enhanced Zelda games. This is, when they started their segment talking about, all the games you're going to be able to play in enhanced enhanced graphics, and oh my god, I gotta say, bro, seeing a Zelda game like Breath of the Wild, how incredible Breath of the Wild is, and Tears of the Kingdom at, you know, 60 FPS, like with 4K resolution, oh my god, it is surreal. It feels like those days where I would look at it through like an emulator video and get really depressed that I'm not playing it on that. And it just looks phenomenal, Ben. I mean, the textures, the lighting, everything. Like, I am 100% going to jump back into Breath of the Wild with these upgraded graphics. I'm not even gonna jump into Tears of the Kingdom. I'm gonna straight up jump into Breath of the Wild with this level of graphics. They also showed, you know, how much faster the load times are compared to the original, you know, how like different areas run better. It's gonna be, now I will say the dumb shitty thing about it is like the idea of their upgrade is that like it ties to a mobile app now, and with the mobile app, like you'll get like Zelda's like voice notes or whatever, and like so you can download some of the vehicles. Some of it, I'm just like, this isn't real content. You could have added something to the game itself or added these in the game. Like having it be like, oh, your added content that you're paying for your Switch is like a mobile game effectively. So that's kind of stupid. Now, Nintendo did say on their website that if you have Nintendo Switch Online, you'll be able to get the enhanced version of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and Breath of the Wild for free. Those are what 2 games only that are going to be free on it. Yeah, if you want to be more specific here, yeah, support for Zelda notes, improved frame rates and resolution, faster load times, HDR support, and same thing for Tears of the Kingdom, basically. They also showed a few more Switch 2 version games. I think they're called like expansion packs or mega packs, something. They showed Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 edition plus Star Cross World. So Star Cross World is effectively an expansion pack that's exclusive to the game. So base game is finally going to be at 60 FPS, which, oh my god, dude, seeing this game running at a beautiful 60 FPS, oh, it's so fucking good, bro. It looks so pretty, bro. I already loved Forgotten Land, that I've wanted an excuse to play it for a long time now. So this is the perfect excuse. I mean, having this new Star Cross World. So they showed a lot of it on the Nintendo Treehouse, where basically it's technically a post-game story mode where you go back to certain levels, and they have like a second version of them where they're all like crystallized. It's harder, right? There's different enemies or different branching paths. Like, it looks like there's gonna be new bosses in it. It looks phenomenal. Like, this for me is 100% one of those things I will pay for the upgrade. And the release is August 28th. So actually, this one releases about 2 months into Switch 2's life. And then Mario Party, by the way, is going to be July 24th. That's going to be a week after Donkey Kong comes out, which, of course, we're going to talk about Donkey Kong. And, of course, Zelda Breath of the Wild are going to be launch day upgrades, which is really cool. The big one, though, Pokemon ZA. Bro, I could not believe it, man. Seeing a Pokemon game run at a normal frame rate, like a 60 FPS, I genuinely, like, my brain couldn't process it. I'm sure you felt the same looking at it. You're like, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean? Like, I cannot believe what I am looking at here. Like, this is some crazy shit. So I was so happy seeing that I'll never be playing a Pokemon game in the past again. And this is like on top of all the other upgrades for other games. Like, there's gonna be games that don't get the paid upgrade, that are just gonna have like Switch free upgrades that are coming, that we'll talk about. And of course, the big one is Metroid Prime 4 Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Supports for the mouse control for the 2 Joy-Cons, enhanced resolution, textures, load times, and you can choose from 2 display modes. And this is unfucking believable, bro. Quality runs at 60 frames, 4K. Obviously, the asterisk means I think 1440p or something. In TV mode and 1080p in handheld. Performance mode runs at 120 FPS per second in 1080 resolution TV and 720. That's unbelievable, bro. Like, I cannot believe that I'm seeing a Nintendo game possibly run at 120, and the footage they showed of Metroid Prime 4 BN looks incredible. I'm shocked it doesn't have a release date. I was so banking on this game coming out day one alongside Mario Kart, that it's almost weird seeing that it's not gonna be day one. So I wonder when it's coming out. My guess, I'm thinking at this point September, October, probably for the release date. They'll probably have like one more direct in the summer to detail some things coming out in the fall or early next year. Now, again, because Nintendo is confusing as shit, right? There's a bunch of games that are going to get free updates on Switch 2. Select games that are going to be getting it. So ARMS is going to be getting a free update. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is going to be getting one. Mario Odyssey, which for me is huge because I know New Donk City always went down to like 30 FPS at some point. Bowser's Fury, huge, because when Fury Bowser showed up, the game just decided to die. Clubhouse, I don't really care. Game Changer for Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom. Those games are notorious for really bad FPS dips in certain areas. So that getting an upgrade is awesome. Game Builder Garage, I can't speak on. Mario Bros. U, whatever. Scarlet and Violet, man. The idea of being able to jump into Scarlet and Violet and actually fully play those games finally. Running well, oh my god, I feel like I'm living a dream. I can't believe it. And it's like, this is one of many moments from Nintendo's Direct and presentation where like they just relayed information so fucking poorly. Where like I had to go on Twitter later to find something. Like people are still arguing and debating what's going on with like the download. So basically physical games, the way they work is that some of them will be in it, some of them will be a download key that you basically have, right? Because if they're too big or not compatible. Now most games are gonna be fine with it, some won't. It's the whole messaging is just off. And then they showed a new, another gimmick game that uses the mouse cons, which is Dragon Drive. Now they played a bit of this on the Treehouse. They showed it here. This game looks cool, right? Like I like the idea of, what's it called? Roller, would you call it rollerblade? Wheelchair, basketball. I like the idea of it, where you're moving the mouse and then like, you toss the ball. I feel like, again, this is just sort of those games that I feel like it's going to be overpriced and it's going to be fun for like the first few times. Maybe we'll be proven wrong and it'll be like amazing, but I don't know. I can't see a game that's this deeply invested in like the mouse con lasting too long besides like trying it. Like it also like, my problem is it feels like it lacks so much personality, right? Like it's all gray, like all the colors are gray, the arena is gray, like there's no color to it. It would have been, I feel like if they had presented it, like I feel like what saves ARMS, right? Like imagine ARMS looked like this, it would have felt like it would have sold way less, whereas if it was this game, right, but with an ARMS like art style where characters looked unique, right, the visuals were super bouncy, I feel like a lot more people would be invested as opposed to like just this looks like default Unreal Engine assets. They basically had a mega third-party section. So the first big one, they showed Elden Ring is coming to Nintendo Switch. Obviously, this is important because later in the Direct, they talk about an exclusive FromSoft game. But Elden Ring looked like Elden Ring. I mean, it looked like it ran like a little worse. See, the third-party segment for Switch 2 was weird because like you'd have a game like Street Fighter 6 pop up where it's like, boom, this is 60 FPS. It looks beautiful. It's 4K. It's going to be crossplay with everything. It is the version of it. But then you see like stuff like Elden Ring or Hitman or Borderlands where it looks like here's like a bit of like the worst version, kind of like usual. And so yeah, I feel like some of these were in gray. I mean, you had Archives, Ridge Racer, Bestiario, Borderlands, which again, big get at least in terms of a shooter. Another big one is Bravely Default is finally getting a remaster. This was a 3DS game people really love, so it's getting a bunch of new content. Cyberpunk coming to Switch. That's really cool, right? That's apparently going to be, is that going to be launch date, as well as the above listed games. Here's a breakdown of other games confirmed for Switch 2 third parties that are either already on system or debuting multi-platform. So we're going to have Enter the Gungeon 2, which is still in development, Fast Fusion, FF7 Remake, right? That's another big one that FF7 Remake is finally going to be coming to the platform. And again, it looked like it was 30 FPS, not 60, which I get, the PS4 versions were also 30 FPS. It took it till integrate to get it to 60, right? So I get it in that sense, but it's cool that FF7 is finally going to be on Switch. Fortnite is going to be a huge one, right? That game looks like shit on base Switch, so to finally have it look good and run well on a Nintendo platform is going to be great. First Squadron, whatever, Goodnight Universe. They announced Hades 2 is going to be coming to Switch, which makes sense. Hitman World of Assassination, cool. Hogwarts Legacy, whatever. They had the audacity to show this fucking Silksong game and still say 2025, man. I mean, I'll believe when I see it, bro. I'm tired of this shit. Just stop it, right? Human Fall Flat 2, Kunitsugami, which is another Capcom game. You have Madden, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which is that new sprite-based game. My Time at Evershine, NBA, Nabunaga's Ambition, No Sleep for coming out, AI, The Somnium Files, Professor Layton is coming to Switch 2, Project 007, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, which is a cool upgrade to that game. Rido Remastered, Sonic Shadow Gens, funny enough, over here is confirmed to come to Switch 2, so hopefully that means we'll get Shadow Gens at 60 FPS, because that was the one thing on Switch that it was 30, so it'll be nice to have that. But I honestly at this point would rather Frontiers get an upgrade, because man, Frontiers on Switch is rough, and I would love if you could play Frontiers on Switch 2 and have it run at like a very good frame rate. That would be like genuinely a game-changing upgrade, right? Star Seeker over here, Star Wars Outlaws, Street Fighter 6, that's gonna be one of the big ones. It's gonna get amiibo support and everything, which is huge. Split Fiction, again, Split Fiction scene, then I was like, this is kind of crusty, man. A game called Synth Beats, Reanimal, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3-4 is huge, 2 Point Museum, Wild Ardettes, Witchbook. It's just Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, which apparently is exclusive to Switch 2 for a while, where there's going to be like new cutscenes, multiplayer modes and everything, and Yuka Replay. So huge list of third-party games coming to the platform. It's cool to see that we're getting decently sized games. I was surprised. I thought we would see Doom, the Dark Age coming to the platform, but it still seems like some third-party games we're not at the point of parity yet. I don't think every third-party game is going to come to Switch 1, but from the specs they've shown, I feel like a lot more third-party games are going to be able to be on Switch 2 day one from now on. Oh, there's also Deltarune announced that's going to be a launch game for Switch 2. Now, I don't know how long it's going to be a launch game or if it's exclusive like temporarily, but that's not a system seller. It's just a really cool thing to have day one, because there's a lot of fans of that series and game. Next up in the presentation, they showed a new Hyrule Warriors game as an exclusive to show, they're working with Koei Tecmo again. This is one, again, that I think is cool that they're doing this. It's funny that at this point, Hyrule Warriors is like a trilogy for them. I was a little disappointed to see that in the trailer, it looked like we were still dealing with like 20 FPS. Yeah, I'm praying that this is just an early showcase and that there will be a 1080p 60 FPS one. I'm guessing here maybe they just want to show the 4K. But again, it's like, this is another case where I'm like, does Age of, Calamity, right? Like, or Tears of the Kingdom, sorry, have enough characters to warrant this? Or, I don't know. I mean, if it's fun, it's fun. I'll play it. Ganon's going to be playable. You'll have, like, the OG heroes that Zelda hung out with. It's cool to get now 2 Zelda games in a row, right? With Echoes of Wisdom and now this, right? So that's going to be cool. I mean, hopefully it's fun. But it's not one of those I have much to say about. It is going to be this year. So that's going to be another game for this year's lineup. And, of course, the big one, the one we've been waiting for years, GameCube on NSO, bro. Let's fucking go. I love GameCube. We all love GameCube, and this is going to be huge. I think what's so cool about GameCube games coming to Switch is that sometimes they'll drop NES games or Game Boy games or whatever, where you're just like, what is this? Whereas I feel like GameCube is huge, because like pretty much every GameCube game is like a full game, right? As opposed to some GB games or some NES games where there's like, here's like a little thing you jump in and jump out of. With GameCube, it's going to be huge. So we know it's going to launch with Wind Waker, F-Zero GX, and Soul Calibur 2, which is fucking awesome. Link's going to be in it. That's going to be lit. It's going to be that version of the game. And of course, just like every NSO game, you'll be able to play online. And the cool thing is that they're not making a third tier to Nintendo Online. I was almost banking on them adding a third tier for where you can get, some of the Switch upgrade packs in a third tier as well as GameCube. But now the expansion pack for and like online Nintendo is kind of a crazy value. And honestly, like F-Zero looking this good as well as the others looks fantastic. I can't wait to play Wind Waker. And yeah, the games they showed that are going to come to it down the line are Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem, Pokemon XD, which is crazy, Mario Strikers, thank God, Chibi Robo, Luigi's Mansion, Colosseum 1, and yeah, that's going to be at least for now, but there's so much potential with GameCube. I mean, maybe praying that they work with Sega to potentially get OG Sonic Riders on there. There's so much cool third-party games on GameCube that I'd understand if companies just want to do re-releases, but it would be cool if they got, support with GameCube. I mean, you could get Wario Land on the GameCube. We could get Star Fox Assault on this. And remember, like, they've upgraded a lot of those old games. Sometimes, they'll add new features or new stuff that was cut or whatever. So I'm praying this is the case, but I'm so beyond happy with GameCube games coming to Switch. This is something we've always wanted, and it's going to be day one. It's going to integrate some voice chat features as well. So I'm fucking happy. Bro, being able to play GameCube games online, Mario Party, oh my god, Mario Party 4, 5, 6, 7 on the GameCube would be fucking awesome, bro. Smash Melee, I don't think they do it, but if they did, it would be huge. Like, I'm all in. All right, the next thing they showed was From Software's Duskblood. I personally am like the last person to care about this, sadly. I know it's a pretty big deal that they have it. Apparently, it's more of a multiplayer game from what people are telling me, but regardless, having a FromSoft game is a huge deal, especially nowadays how popular they are. And yeah, I wonder how long it'll be exclusive for, probably a year or so, but hey, big deal for those fans. And of course, we got Kirby Air Riders. I remember when the trailer first started, when I saw that little light of beam, I thought it might have been Kid Icarus. And then, yeah, as you saw Kirby fall and the star fall, I was like, wait, now this could be Kirby Air Ride, but this is also the Smash CG style, so I know it's Sakurai. And so I was thinking what it could be, right? Because, you know, we do have that World of Light scene where, like, you know, Kirby is using the Warp Star. But, yeah, it does zoom in on Kirby with the jet engine, and then boom, Kirby's Air Riders is the game that is shown and announced here, set to be directed by Sakurai himself, the man pulling up, you know, out here and everything, causing all kinds of stuff. Is crazy. So yeah, this is Sakurai's big project that he's been working on the last few years, is a new Kirby Air Riders. Now, I know a lot of people are discussing here, like, what does this mean for Smash, right? I think, you know, he's probably working on Smash at the same time as this. I think, if anything, this is the best case scenario, but I said there's no Kid Icarus, surprising, but still, I will say he's probably easily working on this as well as Smash Ultimate, or like Smash 2, or whatever the fuck why am I calling it Smash 2? Whatever the next Smash game is. But yeah, Sakurai coming back to work on Kirby is pretty incredible, and this game is also set for this year as well, which is insane. Like, I'm telling you, there's definitely gonna be a June or July Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, because there's a lot of these games that are still coming out this year that we do not have too much footage of. But yeah, no, Kirby's Air Riders. I mean, I love the original Kirby's Air Riders. I think that game is really fun. I think this being directed by Sakurai in 2025 means that this game is going to be content filled. I'm sure there's going to be a shit ton of courses. I'm sure City Trial is going to be incredibly expanded, right? There's going to be a lot more modes to a lot more mini games. Like, knowing how Sakurai is, right, this game is going to be phenomenal, right? It's going to be, because I feel like the original game didn't have that much content, but it was fun clearing the challenge boards, you know, and it was, City Trial was awesome. But I think they're just going to expand on it. And I feel like, because this is Sakurai, I wouldn't sit here and expect all the modern Kirby stuff, like your Magalores or, you know, your Suzies or whatever. This is going to be Sakurai making Kirby in the way he likes. I even knew that from the fact that the trailer showed, you know, 3 other color Kirbys instead of showing, you know, King Dedede, Bandana D, and Meta Knight. I feel like the fact that they showed other Kirby's tells me that it's going to stick to that style, because they're going to be the ones using different power-ups in the levels, which I think is fine. If Sakurai wants to make a Kirby game his style, by all means, right? The game's going to be beautiful. It's going to be fun, and I'm really excited for it. I'm happy Sakurai gets to, you know, go back to his baby with Kirby, right? Flesh out his wings a little bit. If he wants to take time with Smash, take time with Smash, because I feel like everybody kind of agrees that with Smash Bros, we're all kind of okay right now, right? Like, of course, I want the next Smash game. I want the hype cycle to start, but I'm not starving for Smash right now. You know, like, I'm not sitting here and be like, fuck, I need the next Smash already. Like, I feel like I'm like a year or two away from being like, a new Smash would hit right now. So if you want to take his time with a new Smash Bros game, by all means. And then the ending game for the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation that they showed a bunch of on Trias and everything, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I remember I was watching and I thought it was 3D Mario at first, right? I was so dead set. But then when I saw those monkeys bonding, I was like, oh, no way, bro. This is Donkey Kong. And yeah, so this is Donkey Kong Bonanza. This is the big showcase enter that they did. This is effectively their 3D Mario for the year. And man, I will say, bro, this game looks fucking awesome. So this looks like a much more action-oriented platformer, right? Like, obviously, there's a lot of platforming elements. There's climbing, there's rolling, there's running, as DK would. It looks like there's free roam climbing and everything, but the big gimmick here is that you can destroy everything. You can destroy the ground you're walking on. You can destroy walls. You can break everything. You can go underground. Like, it looks like they have been working on this game and fleshing this game out for a long time, because making an environment like this that's completely destructible is hard. You know, like, you got to account for so many assets, so many things, so many areas people would be using this in, like, and it looks fucking awesome. At first when I saw it, I was like, it's smidge disappointed. I was like, okay, where's my 3D Mario? Which I think 3D Mario is still gonna come. It's the 40th anniversary of the series. I'm sure they're gonna have stuff, but for now, man, I mean, this game looks like it has karting sections, 2D sections. It looks incredible. Like Donkey Kong's expressions are fucking sick. Like, I think this is the best the character has looked like ever. He's so expressive. The smiles, the banana heart eyes, the Donkey Kong, the banana. Like, it looks so much fun. When they were playing it on the treehouse, the one thing I saw in the treehouse that I wonder if it's going to be fine on launch is, again, it felt like a lot of, I'm breaking things. It's very Odyssey coded. You can tell the Odyssey team worked on this just by, the text font, how it looks, right, how the cameras zoom in, right, everything. Like, there's something so Odyssey coded about it. And I can see why this game is a Switch 2 only game. I feel like all the destructible environments are probably, what set this apart. And like I said, the treehouse showed a lot of the game, right? It showed, this open area. It showed this underground area. Dude, there's voice acting in the game. There's like mini boss fights. There's different types of rocks you can toss. Like, it just looks like they cooked with the variety. And this game comes out a month after the Switch. Now, this makes an immense amount of sense. As cool as it would have been to have this game on launch day, I feel like you'd be doing it a disservice because everyone on launch day is going to want to play Mario Kart. And man, I still can't get over how good Mario Kart looks, but I mean, the amount of characters you can play as a fucking money bag, all the tricks, all the costumes, everything. Like, it, I will say, when I think of this presentation, this was fucking great, like, just as a showcase. Now, I agree the shitstorm online after has been a nightmare. I know there is the thing I wanted to talk about, which is the potential, price increase that's happening with the, delay and tariffs and all that stuff, because a lot of people have been wondering about that. Basically, as of yesterday, Nintendo announced delays on pre-orders for the Switch 2 in the US specifically, because they don't know what's going to happen with the tariffs. Apparently, it's a big thing going on in the US where prices are just going to go up for a shit ton of things, right? And I'm not going to pretend to know the ins and outs of it, so bear with me if I'm very surface level on this, but obviously bad for the economy, bad for the world. But on a brass, just talking about consoles and gaming here, I think a lot of people are worried that the console's price is going to go up, but it's already expensive, which I don't think that's going to be the case. I feel like Nintendo would take the hit if, tariffs made things go up and make the console cheaper, because they wouldn't want to, up the price after saying what the price is. But yeah, I mean, it's not a good sign, basically, that they've had to do something like this. And we're going to see what happens. I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's one of those things that, like, I'm going to get this thing, I'm in Canada, so I'm a little lucky in that sense. But yeah, it sucks for people that might not be able to get this, or it might be too expensive. But overall, if we're talking about the presentation, as I've been yapping about for an hour, all the games they showed, all the announcements are looking really promising. I mean, we effectively have a decent understanding what year one for the console is going to be, right? Because it's going to launch with Mario Kart, which that game is going to be phenomenal. Next month, you get Donkey Kong. The month after, there's the Kirby, expansion. And then you would assume in the fall, your fall lineup is going to be the Age of Imprisonment Hyrule game, Metroid, Pokemon ZA, and Kirby Air Riders, right? Those are going to be your launch, your fall games, which I think for a year one console, that's pretty fucking good. And that's on top of stuff I'm sure we don't know. Again, they still got to talk about Mario's 40th anniversary plans. There's probably going to be more upgrades. Probably, I'd say there's probably like 1 or 2 more games hidden for this year, alongside like other games getting different upgrades and stuff like that. And they're going to detail year 2. Like, I think Switch 2 overall is looking great. I'm really excited for this console. I'm shocked at how, gorgeous the graphics are going to be on it. And from all the footage we saw on the Nintendo Treehouse stuff, it looks like they're cooking. It looks like the games are running well. It looks like they're looking good. I cannot get over Mario Kart World. For me, that's going to be the system seller. I know the price is going to be a whole situation for it, but from the costumes, track design, how many tracks are looking like, from revamped ones, new ones, costumes, and everything, it's looking phenomenal, everything about it. And of course, obviously in the comment section below, let me know what you're most excited for, what you're most concerned about. But man, yeah, I gotta say, man, this thing coming out in June, it's gonna be fun, dude. It's gonna be cool to play a Nintendo console finally, where like, obviously if you play third-party games, it's not gonna be great, but it's gonna be nice to know that my first-party Nintendo games are gonna be at 4K 60. I feel like that's all I really wanted. Because yes, I play some third parties and some indies, but I have a PS5. I'm going to play my games there. And I feel like if anything, Xbox failing means most people are going to own a PlayStation and a Switch. And so if I can get my third parties on PS5 but get games on Switch that are just 4K 60 looking good, I'm happy, man. I mean, games are starting to chug on Switch 1 and everything. And also, posting, they confirmed that the eShop is going to run faster. A lot of people have been getting hands-on with the games, saying they're amazing. The Switch itself looks like, you know, it's nice, it's sleek and everything. So overall, I am super happy with how this has turned out. I'd love to know everybody's thoughts on the Switch 2. So guys, thank you all for watching. Let me know if you would like to see more Nintendo Switch yapping from your boy as, you know, the months go by and things, you know, get revealed and released and all that stuff. So guys, thank you all for watching. You're the best. I love you. And of course, I will see you all next time. Peace out.